Okay, so the next and final topic that we have to show you guys is this topic of Boolean tools. Now these can be very, very handy operations to do in your CAD. However, generally speaking, we actually don't recommend that you use LayoutEditor to do this. That's why we consider this a bonus topic. LayoutEditor can do this, but it's really not a very good tool compared to what we have available in this other software called Beamer. In my experience, Beamer is much more robust and makes doing this particular operation much easier than it is to do in the CAD, than it is to do in LayoutEditor. But it can still be handy to use the Boolean ops in LayoutEditor, especially for like a couple of simple things. If you have to do like big arrays of stuff, you might be better off just using Beamer, in my opinion. Okay, so let's do this. Now, the Boolean tools are especially helpful for when you have shapes that are overlapped. So I want you to go ahead and create two boxes here, is making sure to have an overlap there in the middle. And I'm going to hit escape. Okay, so two boxes here. Now, what we can do with the Boolean tools is there are certain things that we can do, especially some of these. So let's see, A plus B with delete AB. That means that we can merge the shapes together. A star B, A minus B, and A XOR B. So we'll go ahead and take a look at these. And in order to perform this operation, we have to set inputs to the operation. And to do that, we're going to do this set select to A and set select to B to our objects. And now this part is a little bit tricky and it takes a little getting used to. But if you just follow along exactly the way I teach you, well, we should be okay. Okay, so I'm going to come down here to the first box. I need to set these objects here to A and B. So I'm going to set the first one to A and then this one to B. So let's do it together. So I'm going to make sure to, again, make sure you're in select edit mode here. I'm going to left click to select the object. Now here's the thing I suggest. This will be a little easier if you do it, especially when you're getting started doing it, if you do it this way. You select the object and I want you to mouse off of the workspace. And you can see that the object is highlighted with that with the white around the border. And then, once you see that, then hold Control and hit 9. So now what happens is, when I set the input, when I set select to A, it'll remove that border, basically deselecting it. So now I can see that it was selected. Now I can also come down here to the bottom right and select this one. Again, if you do it, and then I sort of mouse away, hit Control 0, and then I can see that it's actually selected these two. Okay, so from here, the first one we're going to do here is we'll go to Utilities, Boolean Tools, oops, and then we're going to try to come down and use one of these, A XOR B with delete AB. We'll come back to these ones without the delete AB in just a minute. So we're going to use A XOR B with delete AB, and I'm going to select that. And there, you can see what it did, right? It cut out this part in the middle where we had the overlap. It's called an exclusive OR. So that can be a particularly handy one. Right, so we did this exclusive OR. Okay, so there's some other ones that we can do as well. Now to make this a little easier, I'm just going to undo. Okay, I'm going to try setting the inputs again, like that. I'm going to come to Utilities, and then this time I'm going to try A star B. We'll see what that does. Okay, so A star B left the overlap and removed everything else, basically the opposite of the exclusive OR that we just did. Okay, I'm going to undo that. I'll try this part again. Okay, Utilities. And I can also try A plus B. I think that's probably the most intuitive. That just merges them together. Okay, I'm going to undo that now. Okay, so we've been using the the Boolean tools with delete AB. Now, let's try it without delete AB. Let's try the defaults here. Okay, so let's set our A and set our B. Go to Utilities, Boolean Tools, and now let's try that A XOR B without the delete AB. So we're going to try this one, A XOR B. Okay, so to the untrained eye, this looks exactly the same as it did before, but it's a little bit deceiving. So what it did was it kept the inputs. I'm going to come up here, left click, move scale, and I can take these guys and move them out of the way. So here's the thing. Now when I did this without deleting the inputs, I left the inputs in place. These are the inputs, right? But these two objects here are the outputs. And the problem is if I left those in, I'd be left with overlaps. So it's a little tricky. So it's important to use delete AB because this will cause problems with your lithography, especially if you're doing E-beam. This can cause some problems later on if you're not careful. So that's a little bit about that. Let's see if there's anything else we can do. You can also Boolean by layer. That can also be helpful as well. Oh, there's one more thing. So another thing to point out too is that Boolean operations can be done with objects and they cannot be done with cells. And that can be a little bit of an annoyance. Beamer though can do Boolean ops with cells. So it's a little better for that. It makes doing Boolean ops a little easier. And so once the Beamer course is available, we suggest to check that out for doing Boolean operations. But Layout Editor can certainly still do the job, and we recommend using it for individual scale Boolean ops.